Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we know from the recent events in Saudi Arabia, we know that beaches have been opened, open beaches, so people can now, like is exactly like Western beaches. Cinemas have been opened, so all sorts of movies, fitna and all sorts of stuff can be shown in the cinemas, and also women have been given the right to drive. Now, the thing is, there's one thing that really annoys me is that the fact that people are not looking at the fact that all the possible sins that could be committed at the beach, where women are also doing all sorts of stuff, men are doing all sorts of stuff, at the cinemas or at football stadiums with open men and women. You get all sorts of committed sins, but the people are more obsessed with the fact that women can drive. Now, I'm not trying to say that that's necessarily a very good thing. I'm not trying to say but I'm trying to say that people should not be that serious on the fact that women can drive, but look at the fact that they are opening open beaches where people will most definitely end up committing zina and all sorts of other sins. Another thing is I would like to mention is football stadiums in Saudi Arabia, Okay, now as we all know, football in itself, football is not haram. Okay, what is it's good, it's sunnah to work out, to do a lot of exercise, to stay healthy, because Allah likes the strong and likes those who want to be strong. Now, if someone starts spending that £10, £20 or £100 just to see men kicking a ball, okay, and these men are showing the legs, showing the sutter, right, just to see the 1.5 hours match, okay, someone does that, I am pretty sure that that's a waste. That's where it starts becoming haram. Because this money often ends up becoming betting. So the money they receive, they use it for haram purposes. All sorts of stuff happens, and that is what Saudi unfortunately is starting to become. You have men and women mixing together in stadiums, right? And the thing is, they're not even mahram. Okay, you can't, and a non-mahram man is looking at another non-mahram woman right at the stadium, right? And the man is already married, the woman is already married, and they're having all sorts of stuff, affairs and stuff. Yeah, and that I personally find very saddening, because the Prophet he warned us multiple times that there will come a time where shamelessness will become something very common. You will have women dressed but undressed. You have people committing zina in public and publicizing it, and people are going to be like, oh well, whatever, okay, man, they're doing it, let them do it, it's not a problem. That is shows how much society has degraded. Obviously, of course, there are people who do good, okay, who don't know, who try to evade these sins. Now these are destructive sins, zina, riba, and that is what these beaches, open cinemas lead to. People just want to see that one movie, so they go and get a loan from someone. Okay, brother, can I borrow £10 from you? I just want to watch this movie. The brother gives him £10. Now he's in debt. Now he has to pay this brother. Now this brother he goes to the bank. He gets £10 from the bank. He gives the brother £10. Now the bank wants £100. Why? Interest. See, as you can see, movies are lead to interest. Beaches lead to zina. So you have one woman dressed but undressed, and you have another man dressed but undressed. And they have doing all sorts of stuff in the beaches. What happens? They end up doing something haram. So, as what I'm saying is, people, the Muslim Ummah at the moment, we need to see the big things, not the little things like women driving. Because the thing is, if you think about it, right, say that dad, right, the father is ill, the mother is the only one who can take her children to school, right? Now these children, say they're in nursery, right, and say the school is 5 miles away. Do you think the mother's gonna walk 5 miles just to drop her children? No, she will need to find a good means of transport. So driving is a good thing in this case. Right? So we need to see the good in things, but I do not see any good in opening cinemas. I do not see any good in open beaches. I do not see any good in open football matches, open stadiums and stuff. Where there's free mixing. Prophet said it's haram for free mixing to happen, because fine. You know, it's out at the moment, right? Fine. Let's just say people are free mixing, right? It's still not that bad. Fine. It is bad, but it's not as bad as here. Here is in the UK, in the Western area, if two people meet, even if in public they're doing all sorts of haram stuff. Saudi, I'm pretty sure people are gonna look down upon it. But the thing is, here's the thing: people are gonna be doing it. No, even if someone looks down upon it, there are people who don't care about society, what society thinks. They'll do it, and that is where the problem lies. So, I would like to conclude it by saying, that we Muslims should be researching and fighting against, oppression against ourselves. This sin, zina, riba, lying. These are sins upon ourselves. This is oppressing ourselves, oppressing, our partners, right? So, I would like to finish. I would like وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين, and I would like to pass on to Brother Absah here.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Obviously, it's a very big issue we're facing now with the influx from Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And obviously, we cannot challenge his ruler, obviously, because he is a ruler, legitimate or not. He is ruling over and the nation, and we cannot challenge him. And it's also wrong to do it forcefully. Forcefully, as in a video surfaced on the internet of a man who looks to be pouring petrol on the Kaaba. And this is something that is very, very, very wrong to do. Because yes, you may be angry with individuals, but what has the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got to do with it? And this is where the man went wrong. There was different ways of doing it. Yes, Saudi Arabia has banned protest and all of these things, but there are different ways. You do not go to the house of Allah and do that, firstly. Secondly, we are living in an age where Qiyamah looks to be very close. Many of the minor signs have passed. Major signs look to be coming very soon. Minor signs, a very interesting minor sign was the Prophet saying how skyscrapers will become so prominent that when they do become that prominent, the hour will be literally shadowing over the Kaaba. And what do we see today? The Zamzam clock tower is shadowing the Kaaba, meaning the hours, it's a clock tower, meaning there's hours in the clock tower, and it's shadowing over the Kaaba. And how can you have something shadowing over the greatest place on earth? But summun bukmun umyun fahum la yarji'un. They've become blind, deaf, and dumb to these facts. And this is true, brothers and sisters. We need to admit this, that the leaders of today's world are too apathetic. There's too much apathy in this world that they become blind, deaf, and dumb towards the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And other points that I would like to end on. Amin had covered mainly most of the points, but a point that I would like to end on is what we can do to change this. Basically, we can show our support to the right people. I'm not saying go out and try to take matters into your own hands, because that's not what Islam says, but it's to advise and to educate everyone, and that's the right thing to do. And I would also like everyone to know that it is very important to live by the law of the land. So you have to live by the law that they are putting on in Saudi Arabia. And after that, I would just like to finish by saying that alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a lot of barakah in this life, and has given us a lot of bounties in this life, where we live in this country, or most of us watching this video will be living in Western countries, and we are allowed to have these liberties that many people aren't allowed to have. But liberties and responsibilities, it comes with a price. How Amin was saying, cinemas and everything, there is no excuse for it. Basically, what they are doing, they are only opening these cinemas to appease the West. Mohammed bin Salman and his father, they met with Donald Trump, a person who hates Muslims out and out. There is no debate on it. Yeah, he talks to them. No, he can fake it, but overall he hates Muslims, and they're, you know, trying to get on his good side. No. Overall, he will not look at the good for you. He'll look for the good of his country and the good of his wealth. So opening the cinema, these different places, all of these are bad, but within that there are some things that Saudi needs to get right. With the women driving, I do believe myself that there is no problem. My mother, she drives, she personally drives. Without my mother's help, I wouldn't have become up to the point where I am today. As she drove me to school, she drove me here, she drove me to this center, she drove me to this center, and I made me the person which I am today. So I think they do need to solve some bits, but they are, you know, doing wrong things, and they need to solve this. I ask everyone to make dua for the guidance of these people and the guidance for ourselves. And that is the end from me, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفروا لي ولكم. And Amin might want to say some more words. So
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So another thing I would like to mention is, you know, the madness that Saudi Arabia is causing in Yemen, in, you know, in these countries. The thing is, yeah, Yemen, you know, is, from what I know, Yemen seems to be a country where there's a lot of Shia Muslims, right? But these Shia Muslims, they have not been, you know, doing any harm to anyone else, right? They've been there. So now, why are these Muslims suffering? Why are these people suffering? Because, you know, the Saudi agenda. They're trying to show that, you know, we are doing this, but there are, obviously in Yemen, there are Sunni Muslims, good Sunni Muslims, practicing Muslims, right? And the fact that, you know, Saudi is dropping nukes on Yemen, on whose accord, right? Donald Trump's accord. Why? Because Donald Trump's been manipulated by higher power. And who are his higher powers? His colleagues, right? So now, one thing I would really like to say is, yeah, the Muslim Ummah, we have fallen in the clutches of the West. We need to regain our control. Of course, I'm not saying that you go out with an AK-47 or AR-17 or whatever and you start shooting people. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. What I am saying is that, you know, you go out, you protest, you make dua, you give charity, you educate the people, you stand against certain laws. You know, here, for example, here you can, before they pass a law, you have to vote. So, you know, here you can vote against a certain law, right? But in Saudi, for example, if they see that, people don't want this in the West, I am sure that the people in Saudi, the government in Saudi will not do it. So, I would like to end finish this, this episode on one point, that we Muslims need to, stand and look for a peaceful solution, because war is only legitimized only if we are attacked, only as a defense, only to defend our honor, our land, and ourselves. قولي هذا واستغفروه وإسأل المسلمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.